Good afternoon. Welcome to Mike and the Hoss on Wolfeboro Community Television. Charlie, today's our 20th show.
It's exciting. This is awesome.
It is. I didn't think... I'm surprised we got to 20.
Yeah, and that means we spent 10 quality hours together. And emphasis on quality. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun.
So, we spent the last 5 months or so, talking about Kingswood sports and Red Sox, Bruins, and we've beaten up some teams, and
yes,
we've been kind to some teams, and the Kingswood season's coming to an end. As far as this school year,
right?
And it's a long one this year.
Yeah.
We both are in the system.
Yes.
So we're going to be wrapping up Kingswood sports today, and so I think it's time to almost start thinking in the future shows. Start looking at previewing some of the fall sports.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. And maybe even getting some of our maybe local community members that are part of the Kingswood program, the sports program, athletic program, or just in the general community that are supporters. It'd be nice to maybe have a guest or two on.
Yeah, and I think we talked about having the athletic director on.
Yep.
See if we can get him to come, down the hall and jump in the show.
That'd be great.
Love to see how he works his budgets and how he deals with things and issues and stuff like that, and what comes goes behind putting the Kingswood sports together. Like you said, some community members, but there's other things we could talk about too. There's the Cal Ripken playoffs are going to be coming up soon.
That's right.
Abenaki lacrosse playoffs are going to be coming up soon.
Yeah, local community events. We could talk senior Babe Ruth baseball.
Yep.
So I think we have a lot to talk about.
And we plan on going through the summer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You and I talked about it, so
definitely.
We plan on being with you guys during the summer, so we're pretty excited about that. But let's start with our Kingswood sports.
Sure.
There aren't any teams left, unfortunately.
Right.
The season ended for everybody. They had one team the tennis team made the playoffs.
Yep, tennis team. Yep, tennis team played last week.
Yep, and the boys lacrosse team made the playoffs. They finished 9th, I believe.
Right.
And they played St. Thomas yesterday, a game that you were able to get to.
They did. Yes, I had a chance to go, and it was a great game. Kingswood played exceptionally well. I mean, they came out on the wrong end, but the game itself was 15-9. But let's talk a little bit about it. It was actually a very competitive and tight game. I mean, at one point it was 5-3 after the first period.
Yep.
Going into the fourth quarter, it was 12-9. Those last few goals happened in the last few minutes. But overall, Kingswood played exceptionally well. Really, shout out to goalkeeper Josh Barascos. I mean, he's young, a young goaltender, and he's going to be around for the next few years. And he played quite well. St. Thomas is a good team, and I know we've talked at length about St. Thomas. So my expectation going to the game was I'm going to see some really good lacrosse. Here's the interesting thing. So I sat with the fans, not only of Kingswood, but they mix in with St. Thomas fans, so you have everybody there. And I do want to, let's start with some positive. The St. Thomas fans were fine. They were great. I had some conversations with them, in between quarters, and it was pretty positive, and everything that was said was positive. The one area that was not positive was the coach from St. Thomas, and this was interesting because I thought it was the head coach. There were 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and the referee was all over the St. Thomas sideline. It just happened to be the assistant coach that was out of control. And this is what really bothered me, that if your assistant coach is out of control, it means your head coach is not controlling the game, controlling the team. And the things that he was saying, and we were close enough to the field that we could hear it, highly inappropriate. He was really on the referee the whole game. And everything that a coach does, the players are going to emulate.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that is a good brand that St. Thomas or any coach, whether from any school, would want to do that, because for the most part the St. Thomas kids there was good sportsmanship. You saw kids helping each other up, and I was really happy to see that. But then you have these out of control coach, or one out of control coach, and it just really kind of put a stain on really the St. Thomas program.
I think, and you and I coach at the youth level, and we coach at the schools. It is so important for coaches to understand that they're modeling the behavior of what they're expecting from the players. And when you get physical sports like hockey or lacrosse, where the object is not to necessarily hit somebody, but it's part of the game. Like in football, the object is to tackle somebody.
Right.
It's a physical sport, but generally things stay within the rules, and whereas hockey and lacrosse, things can get out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
And if the coach is not modeling the right behavior, if the coach is actually lighting the fire to get things out of, he's irresponsible in his job,
Right.
and he's derelict, and he needs to be dealt with. And you know this with baseball, they're having in hockey too. They're having a really difficult time getting referees.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why they're the umpires, the referees, and so on have said that there's a problem is because of the parents and the coaches.
Right.
It's not the players.
No.
It's not the game. It's not the players. It's because it's the parents and the coaches. And there's this thought that there's a scout in the stands at every single game. There's a scout in the stands for 9-year-old baseball
Right.
or 9-year-old hockey or 9-year-old lacrosse, and that is not the case. And parents, are looking at it as the ticket. Not all parents, obviously, but looking at it as a ticket. And we've been dealing with it in our AAU team a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the other side. Our parents are very well behaved.
Yes.
But I think that's some credit towards us, though. That's what we expect from our parents, and we don't stand for our parents to be negative towards the other team or towards our team.
Absolutely.
But we've seen what happens when it is allowed.
Right.
And it's a bad look.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad look for the parents. It's a bad look for the team. So the comments that you're making about the St. Thomas coach, it's a bad look for St. Thomas. And we've been on St. Thomas for other reasons, since we started the show, about how come they're able to play in Division II and so on.
Yeah.
But if they're playing the game the right way and playing respectfully, then, at least there's that.
Sure.
But now if they're piling on with
Yeah.
some unsportsmanlike, play from the coaches, saying inappropriate things,
Yeah, I
what
mean,
are we doing?
And obviously we don't coach lacrosse, but if you're getting two unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, I know from a football perspective, I've been flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct on the sideline, and I'm embarrassed by it. Your emotions, take over. But in football, if I were flagged again for that, I'd be suspended for the next game. I mean, I would they would escort me off the field. It's something that once it happens, and then for me personally, I felt terrible. But you need to be able to control your emotions. And what I wanted to get at was, this was an assistant coach. Where is the head coach? Why is he not taking control?
Well, you said it earlier. He's not controlling the sideline.
Right.
I believe at Kingswood, I believe Mr. House, the athletic director, and Mr. Donnelly, and the principal at the middle school, and I hope this is the case, would not stand for that kind of behavior.
Yeah. I don't think they would.
We've seen it. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been here for a long time. We've been in the program for a long time. We've seen coaches come and go
Sure.
that have acted inappropriately, and often they've been asked to leave, and as they should be. They're coaching kids.
Yeah.
They're not coaching adults. They're coaching kids
Right.
in a game that there needs to be lines that are drawn,
Mm-hmm.
and those lines need to be consistent from the players, the assistant coach, the head coach, the parents, the administration. Everybody
way
needs to
through.
know where that line is, and that needs to apply to the players also. And so, if a player is out of line, they need to understand that if the coach acts that way, the coach is going to be on. The player's also gone.
Right. Yeah, so it was just kind of a like you said, we kind of been on St. Thomas, but it was just kind of a stain on the day, because overall I thought it was a really great lacrosse game. Kingswood played exceptionally well. Obviously St. Thomas played well. There was some good sportsmanship in there, and then there was just kind of this coaching issue. And you're right, because I certainly wouldn't have wanted to be that referee. I mean, he was up and down. That was his sideline for the whole game. And all he heard was chatter the whole time. So I could see that, I probably wouldn't want to ref if I'm going to get
Right.
that day in and day out.
Right, and it's we talked to the the kids when at the baseball games, if there was a bad call made.
Mm-hmm.
This is middle school baseball.
Yeah.
These are middle school umpires.
Right.
They're not perfect. They're going to make mistakes. They're human. There's a human element. It's just like you made a mistake out there.
Yeah.
If they were great umpires, then they probably would be doing it at a higher level.
Right,
And so, you've got to understand that and just play the game and deal with it. And I'm not saying that, you can't question a call and, argue an opinion or something like that, but it has to be done in a respectful way, because everybody's watching. And you know this. If you go out and argue a call, and if you say something to a referee during a lacrosse game or a hockey game, everybody hears it.
Yep.
Every player that was on the team heard it. Every player on the other team hears it. Every parent that's in the stands hears it.
Yeah.
And you have to conduct yourself in a respectful way.
Absolutely. So
that was kind of a segue.
that was. So, but congratulations to Kingswood boys lacrosse for making the playoffs. Girls lacrosse.
Well, I wrote down in our notes it was a collapse, and I don't know how else you can put it. When we talked about them not more than 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks at the most, they were in third place. We had them as a lock.
Right.
And I don't think
we really did. I hope we didn't jinx them.
I don't know. I don't think we should lock another team in.
No.
But they lost their remaining games.
Yeah. I mean, they had the struggles with goaltending.
And what we talked about Josh Paraskos a second ago.
Yeah.
And goaltending obviously is a really big deal in lacrosse.
Yeah, huge.
And other sports too, but
Right.
in lacrosse it's a big deal. And unless you are keeping the ball down on the other end, your goaltender is going to be asked to make a save or two.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's how the girls' season ended. I know that they're very disappointed. The girls have a lot of youth.
Yeah.
And they're losing some, real experience, between Mackenzie Duran, Amanda Lepar, Ginny Skelly, and so on. Bridget Coughlin. I mean, some, players that have been there for a while.
A lot of talented players.
But I do know that they have a lot of youth. Freshmen, there was 4 or 5 freshmen that were regular contributors. So the future, we said it before, the future is looking good for them. Baseball ended 2-14. On a high note, Tyler Sprintz was named to the Division III All-State team.
Yeah, congratulations, Tyler.
It's a nice job, Tyler.
That's great, representing Kingswood.
And the softball team won their last game.
Yes, they did, and that's awesome.
What a nice ride back on the bus that must have been.
Absolutely.
A relief.
Wasn't much of a ride, weren't they home? Or were they away?
They were away.
That's right.
St. Thomas.
They were at St. They beat St. Thomas. You were right. So congratulations for getting that win.
The boys had the boys ended. We were at senior night, right?
Yeah.
And
we broadcasted it senior night. So that was against Bow.
That went extra. Was that the one that went extra innings?
That went to the 9th inning for baseball.
Yeah, 9th inning. They had an extra inning game, in the last week, and then the St. Thomas game they lost. I want to say it was 6-1.
Right.
They were in these games.
Bow is they're in playoffs. So that game that we were at, that was a heck of a game by Kingswood.
Coach Kelly said that, and these numbers aren't exact, but it usually goes for about 45 practices, and they had 8 outside.
Yeah.
He said if the season would have started 2 weeks ago, they'd be in the playoffs.
Sure.
I believe it. The way they were playing, and he had, the pitching was worked out.
Yeah.
Tyler came on, Justin Sturt came on.
Yeah.
He brought him up from the JV team. But that's the way it goes. And it wasn't a great season for everybody, but I know there was a lot of positive things that came out of it. It might not have been a lot of wins and playoffs and stuff like that, but we do know that the Kingswood did have a good season.
It's so tough to play. I mean, I know we're going to move on, but it's really tough to play softball and baseball and even lacrosse in New England at times. You just never know with our weather. We could have a mild spring, or we could have like this spring. It was just wet, rain.
A few years ago, we were outside in March.
Yeah.
What a difference. What a difference, because by the time you played that first game at the beginning of April, you were in mid-season form compared to how you used to be. And this year was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
And not only that, when the snow melted, it still rained every day, it seemed like.
Yeah.
It was really disappointing.
It was a tough year weather-wise.
All
right. Playoff. Want to talk another playoff team? Talk Bruins?
Sure, we'll talk about
the Bruins. Hold on. I forgot. We forgot one thing. Caitlin Carpenter, right? Caitlin Carpenter from Kingswood. She is going to the Meet of Champions for track. Yeah. So congratulations to Caitlin. We wish you the best. So
good luck, Caitlin.
Yep. Okay, Bruins. So we're in the Stanley Cup final.
We are. It's an awesome.
I like that we are.
We are.
Yeah.
Well, we're local.
Yeah.
So after game 1, because we haven't been on for a week and a half, so we missed some games. After game 1, I feel everybody in Boston was pumping their chest. And
sure. Yeah.
They thought
myself included.
Yep.
Yeah.
Invincible.
Yep.
And it was a little bit of a wake-up call in game 2.
Yeah.
Because they got beat up a little bit. 45 hits St. Louis had.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the Torrey Krug hit first of all.
Sure.
which has been played over and
And
over
over,
and over
yeah.
again. What a great hockey play!
Yeah.
If it epitomizes what what you want a hockey player to be.
Absolutely.
The helmet off.
Helmet
and-
is off.
Yeah,
He's going full speed.
yeah, flying through the air.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Clean hit.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
agree.
The guy had the puck. The guy that he hit is still out though.
Yeah,
And St. Louis returned the favor.
they did.
Matt Grzelcyk is hurt.
Yeah, Grzelcyk's out, and Sundqvist just got suspended.
He did,
Yeah.
which I guess I see it. I thought it was a pretty clean hit too,
Yeah.
but he did get him in the head.
I mean, on ice, it was a 2-minute minor,
Yeah,
and then once that went to the committee.
they got him for boarding, and
Yeah.
I think it was a lot of it was because Grzelcyk was so hurt.
Sure.
It's going to be physical. This is going to be a physical series, and I think Game 2 kind of St. Louis said, okay, we're playing this way.
Yeah.
And I think it was sparked by the Krug hit.
Mhm.
Because I think when Krug, made that statement to them,
They said,
this
"All right."
is the way that St. Louis wants to play.
Yeah, they're huge.
They're
I mean,
big boys.
maroon scares
Yeah.
me to death.
Yeah, they are big
Yeah.
boys. And win or lose, whoever comes out of the series, at the end of the series, these boys are going to be
Yeah.
banged up.
Yeah.
This is going to be physical, and I think this is going 7 now.
Mhm.
I do. I think this is going 7. It's just going to be a war of attrition, it looks like, and because the hitting is full speed.
Yeah.
They are absolutely just creaming it
They
every
are.
shift. 45 hits. And those aren't bumps. Those are when somebody lays contact and you hear the board slam.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at 15 per period. It's better than 1 a minute.
Yeah. And I mean, they're going to the goaltenders too.
They're going at the
Yeah,
goaltenders
so
too.
I'm excited for tomorrow night.
I think that Rask playing well. Do you feel
Yeah.
like he's playing well?
I think
do
he's
too.
playing well.
I don't think that the layoff
Yeah.
hurt him.
No.
I think this is just going to be physical. St. Louis doesn't have as much offensive talent as we've seen some of the other teams that the Bruins have played,
Right.
but they're beating them up. They're beating them to the puck. They play a dump and chase game.
Mm-hmm.
Bruins are in for it. They're going to have to work this, and it's going to be fun to watch. I think we're very lucky to have it. But after the game 1, I really thought that they were going to.
Oh, gosh,
after
yes.
one.
Yeah,
I
it's like,
just,
wow.
I think everybody did too because
Yeah.
they played so well in the second and third period in game 1. They just dominated. But
I mean, there were comments like, "Do the Blues, do they even belong here?" type
Right.
of thing, and I think they do belong here after Game 2.
yep, absolutely.
So tomorrow night we get Game 3, and
It's a big one.
Should be it's huge.
It's a big one. I mean, I would even predict that the Bruins are probably going to lose that because
Yeah.
I think home ice
Going into St. Louis,
and then
yeah.
the Bruins will get that wake-up call that they're going to need,
Yeah.
and then it's going to be a grind. So
You're going Bruins 7. I'm still gonna. Well, I'm not still gonna. I'm gonna make my prediction.
Yep.
Bruins in 6.
Okay.
All right. So we'll see. How about Red Sox? Holy cow! Are we at a point? Are we at a point that is this series this weekend with the Yankees? Is this do or die? Is this
I think it is.
is,
I think it is for a couple reasons. One, the Red Sox are healthy.
mm-hmm.
The Yankees are not.
right?
The Red Sox are 7.5 back of the Yankees.
Right.
They need to pick up. I mean, it was a 4-game series. Now it's down to a 3-game series because they got rained out last night.
Yeah.
I mean, if they pick up 2 or 3, they pick up a game.
Yeah.
But they need to start whittling this down because as the Yankees start getting back some of their studs,
Yeah.
they're going to be hard to catch. Put it this way: if the Red Sox lose 2 or 3 in this
Yeah.
series, they're
You can
8.5
get
back.
Yeah, 8, 9 back,
And,
9.5 back.
There's not a lot of teams that come back from that.
No.
That's really hard
And then
to
you're
make
playing.
up.
You're playing for wild card, and
Yeah.
so.
Which could be. 29 and 27. I expected it to be better. We had said June 1st they'd be in first place.
Sure.
That was a miss.
And the Yankees are playing lights out. I mean, all they do right now is win.
in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And the teams like the Red Sox did last year. Teams that win in different ways are really dangerous. And the Red Sox aren't winning in different ways right now.
No.
The hitting is not complementing the pitching, and the pitching is not complementing the hitting.
And Mitch Moreland is injured. So
What happened? I missed that. I saw him on the DL, but I don't know what happened.
yeah, I think it's strained back.
Oh.
So so that they got Chavis might play a little first base.
He was there the other night.
Yeah. We have Brock Holt. So I'm a huge Brock Holt fan. So, so I think he.
Brock,
Are you not apparently not?
No, I am.
Yeah.
I am, but
He's like
I-
Mr. Utility.
Well, I just think that, and I mean, I wish I could be a utility player in the MLB.
Of course, we all do.
I just know that if you're banking on your utility players, then
Yeah.
you got problems.
Oh yeah.
You know,
sure.
you got problems. That means somebody's not playing well. And
Mm-hmm.
Chavis,
Chavis. Yeah.
he's been a nice spark.
Yeah.
Devers continues to hit. Devers is starting to hit the ball hard now.
Yeah.
I had said there was a lot of seeing eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
Now he's starting to hit the ball hard. And you know what? Sometimes that happens. Those seeing eye singles get through there. Your average is, gets up over 300. And now all of a sudden you're confident.
Yeah.
And then you swing the bat with confidence.
Right.
And he obviously has a lot of talent.
Mm-hmm.
But he's hitting the ball pretty hard right now, which is nice to see. Betts is back to where he was just about.
Yeah.
Average quite isn't there, but he's pretty much where he was.
JBJ's starting to hit the ball well now too.
Is he?
Yeah, past couple of games.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big deal because
Yeah.
if you can complement his fielding with some hitting,
Yeah.
then you keep him in the lineup. And
His average is still under 200, but
Benintendi's, they sat him for a game.
yeah.
They sat him because they don't like what they're seeing at the leadoff spot.
Right.
And so now Betts is going to be moving back in the leadoff spot, I guess. That's what I'm hearing, which he doesn't want to be
Yeah.
because it hurts his numbers a little bit as far
Yeah.
as the RBIs. It's interesting. I think Cora's got a little drama to deal with. Pedroia,
Yeah. So he's what? So it's the 60-day, IL, and so this is time for him to decide whether or not he's going to hang up the cleats.
I mean, based on his comments, he
Yeah.
just says, I don't think I can play every day anymore.
Right.
That's what his comments were. They have an interesting issues with his contract, that he has 2.5 years left on his contract.
Right.
If he retires, he loses that money, and it's about $40 million.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, Pedroia might be in uniform.
He might linger.
He might linger for a little while.
Yeah. Well,
And
I might linger for 40 million.
But if he doesn't retire, then they have to keep him on the 40-man roster, and so then
Yeah.
they can't use that space.
Sure.
There's all kinds of issues.
I wonder if they can work some type of deal.
Just buy him out.
Yeah.
Just release him and buy him out. I mean, they released Hanley Ramirez. They released Pablo
Or
Sandoval.
could you make him like a special assistant? Do that and then still have him, work within the organization.
I think part of the problem, the Red Sox have tons of money. I think part of the problem is that 40-man roster.
Yeah.
And, they move people back and forth. They move guys back and forth off that 40-man.
I didn't mean. I meant if you release him. I mean, I'm worried about his financial well-being, of course. So
Yes,
if you
I'm
release
sure
him
he's having
that
a tough
40
time.
million, but still keep him within the organization, not as a player. So that
Kind of like what they were doing with Veritek.
Yeah.
Veritek's there, and Pedro Martinez is there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but even more of a regular than we see those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I still hope that he can come back, but I don't know if there's a position for him at this point.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess, and I don't know this for a fact, that if somehow the Red Sox can clinch, or if the decisions are made, with a week left in the season, that he might play the last week and then be done.
Yeah, and that'd be it. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's certainly been a good Red Sox.
Absolutely.
At least. And that brings us to our next topic. We have a few minutes left, right, Charlie?
We do.
We started talking about the New England Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
And you're a history buff, so you want to tell us who the real Mount Rushmore is? Because I know you put
Sure.
that on
I mean,
our
yeah,
notes.
the real Mount Rushmore. We got Teddy Roosevelt. We have George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Abraham Lincoln. So that's the real Mount Rushmore. Well, let's talk a little bit about the New England sports Mount Rushmore.
On the screen, Timothy
what do we
put
have? Timothy
a
has-
few up there. He's got Ted Williams.
is that Larry Legend?
I think that's
Larry Bird?
Bobby
Yeah.
Orr, Bill Russell,
Yeah.
and Tom Brady.
All right.
But that's 5.
Yeah.
We're only allowed to have 4.
4, right? Yeah.
So he's already out.
Yeah.
He cheated. So we got to narrow those
You're going to
down.
have a really big rock.
So we have to narrow this down to 4.
All right. I did
And-
do a little research for myself.
Okay.
Preparing,
Well,
but I don't want to start. I don't need to start.
No,
but,
you got
this
the
is your
research going.
this is your segment. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
So I got into this with my son Sam.
Yeah.
Just before we came here because he had his 4.
Yeah.
And we should have a baseball guy, right? Should we have a baseball guy?
So I have a baseball guy, a basketball guy, a hockey guy, and a football guy.
Okay.
So I actually covered
All right.
the 4
And-
major
and-
sports.
And I think that
Yeah.
that's appropriate considering they've all won. They've all won, and we've certainly have the stars.
Sure.
So he was for baseball. Let's agree to that. We're going to have one of each, and we'll go one by one.
All right, I agree. We have
Okay.
one of each. Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
So Sam was Ted Williams,
All right.
and I was David Ortiz.
Okay.
And my argument was, and I'm a Ted Williams fan. I've
Yeah.
read many of the books of Ted Williams.
Sure. The splendid Splinter.
the greatest hitter of all time.
Absolutely. Highest average, right? 406. He batted 406 in 1941 and,
and
retired with 344 lifetime average.
And played the last weekend. He had a chance to sit down so he would keep his average of above 400. He says, no, I'm playing, and it went like 5 for 9.
Yeah.
So you got to be a Ted Williams fan.
Yeah.
But he didn't win.
He didn't win a World Series. I get that.
He didn't win. I would put him on my Mount Rushmore of athletic heroes.
Yeah.
You know, he fought in 2 world wars.
I was going to say war hero. I mean, world-class fisherman as well.
World-class fisherman.
But
great storyteller.
obviously, baseball Hall of Famer. I mean, great. He didn't win a World Series. But I'm going to agree with Sam. And it's right there in writing. I have Ted Williams as my baseball guy.
Okay.
So Sam, we think alike. So that's great. No, and I get it. It's the World Series thing. I think about that a little bit, but I don't know. He was the greatest hitter in the history of baseball.
He was.
So
I think that. And there are other great hitters.
Sure.
Right? But
absolutely.
I just think that when you win 3 World Series and you're the centerpiece of 3 World Series, and we know what Ortiz did in the postseason. Mm-hmm. We don't know what Ted Williams did in the postseason because he never really got there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they got there once with him.
So where Ortiz was there on a regular basis, delivering on a regular basis.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you with David Ortiz because there isn't anything negative I could say about David Ortiz. But let me ask you this question. So Ted Williams, played back in the 40s. So if we go to the future, will people, when we're old and really old, will we be talking about David Ortiz just like we're talking about Ted Williams? Does he have that lasting legacy?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the next generation is going to even know much about Ted Williams.
Right.
I mean, we know about Ted Williams because our fathers talked to us about Ted Williams. And, there's still, we're not that young where we don't know, and we're not that old.
Right.
We're kind of in that in between, and we still have some of that lasting legacy that we still talk about. We know who he is. I don't know if the next generation is going to know who he is.
True, yeah.
As much, unless they're really.
Yeah, we never saw Ted Williams play. We saw David Ortiz play.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
And I think, you're right. I mean, maybe you should ask Will, and I'll ask Jonathan.
Okay.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I think they'll know the name Ted Williams, but they certainly know David Ortiz.
Okay.
Oh, it's interesting.
I think the football one's easy. We're probably both agree on that one.
About Sam? What did Sam say?
Sam was Brady.
All right, so I'm Brady. Tom Brady, right? 6 Super Bowls, right?
Oh, so you went to the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So you went. So
4. I got it. We switched to football, and we're not using Tom Brady versus Ted Williams.
So okay, well, so if the argument suits you, then that's all right. I understand how this works now. It's not an argument. I mean, he's
no argument.
He's on the Mount Rushmore of NFL players. Period.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So he obviously makes
GOAT.
the boss. He's the GOAT, and
4 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 regular season MVPs. I mean,
great at Twitter. He's great at Twitter. He's just. I mean, he's.
That's a criteria. He's great at Twitter. All right.
All right. Basketball.
What do you think?
I'm Bill Russell.
Oh, I'm Bill Russell too.
Okay.
Okay.
We talked Larry Bird for a second.
Yeah.
But why are you Bill Russell?
Because he's the great. I have here. He's the greatest winner.
Did he win any championships
in sports history? Bill Russell. You're talking about did Bill Russell win?
I know he won 10 times.
He won 11. No, 11. 11.
Yeah, but then he won one as a coach too, didn't he?
Are we still going back to Ted Williams?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
So all right, so.
And not only did he win 11, and he won 11 in 13 seasons.
Yep.
Just dominate the basketball court.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
And on both ends of the court. So winning matters on basketball. Winning matters on football. I just want to make sure I understand what's happening here.
The other thing about Bill Russell, I think you knew this too, but I mean he was kind of part of the civil rights movement, and an African American male playing in Boston at that time, and he was just a big part of that in the '60s, and that is awesome as well.
And he was the one guy that really could shut down the other dominant centerman that was.
Absolutely.
Will Chamberlain was playing then, and he had to go against him. on a pretty regular basis, and he came out on top.
Yeah.
Virtually every single time. So, all right, Bill Russell.
All right, hold on. Let's recap before we go to hockey. So, baseball, I have Ted Williams, and you have David Ortiz.
Just because I'm staying consistent with all the other ones.
And Sam has Ted Williams. Okay. We're bringing Sam into this. It's kind of fun. Football was kind of unanimous. We all have Tom Brady.
But Will and Jonathan are going to do the tiebreaker.
We're going to do Will and Jonathan with that. And then basketball, we all had Bill Russell. Or did Sam have Bill Russell?
Sam and Bill Russell.
Okay. So good. All right. So now we're going hockey.
Okay. Who do you have?
I have Bobby Orr.
Okay. I need to talk a little bit through this. Because
Yeah, sure.
How many titles did Orr win?
Actually, I don't know. How many did Bobby Orr? Well, obviously he beat St. Louis in overtime, but...
Yeah, so that's one.
Yeah.
Was there another one? I think there was another one.
There may have been. I'm
not
not sure of that. I do have... Want me to have a little information about Bobby Orr?
Sure.
And then I'll listen. Obviously, he's in the Hockey Hall of Fame. He was the youngest ever inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. He won 8 straight Norris trophies, which is the best defenseman in the league.
Yep.
3 straight Hart trophies, which is the league MVP.
Yep.
He is the last defenseman to lead the NHL in scoring. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing was when he was playing back in the 70s. That's when New England really became hockey focused and hockey centered, and that's when you saw all these rinks going up all over New England, and it was the Bobby Orr craze. Every kid wanted to play hockey.
He changed the game.
He did.
He changed the game. He changed how it was played. He did win, and he was a stat guy, and he's all intents and purposes, apparently he's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
He was drafted when he was 12 or 13.
Wow.
So think about that. At 12 or 13, being drafted, because I guess you could then.
Yeah.
He changed the game. You watch the highlights for him going end to end, time and time again. My question, my hesitation, it wasn't hesitation. I was going to be Bobby Orr. But if the Bruins win this year, then you're going to have 3 guys for sure that I could think of, Chara, Bergeron, and Marchand.
Sure.
That will have 3. No, I'm sorry. They've been to 3-1-2.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're at Bobby Orr's level. I'm not saying that they are. But they're going to be pretty high in Boston lore.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Bergeron has been there since 06, 05, 06. We're in 2019 now, so he's 14 years. He started when he was 18. To think that he was out there when he was 18 years old. And he's been to 3 titles. The Bruins are looking pretty good. They might get to another one.
Right.
He's been to 3 Stanley Cups. I think that Bergeron, he's not going to make the Mount Rushmore. Mm-hmm. He's not. He doesn't have the points. He doesn't have the stature that an Orr did. Right. I think it's going to take somebody like a Gretzky to knock Orr off. Mm-hmm. But again, is it generational too?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing could be generational. Should we have set up a criteria as far as the Rushmore? Like Timothy, our producer, wants to put up 5 people. So can we say, okay, if we're going to put up 4 people, and then as we go through generations, can we add more? Now I know you don't add more to the original Mount Rushmore, but that was also, if you look at the people that are on that Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, but I think that the idea with the game is that you got to pick 4.
Oh, sure, I agree with that.
You got to pick 4, and if we're going to add 5, then why not add 6? If we're going to add
no, I guess my point was not to continue to add, but I mean, do you get through? It's one of those things. Do you get through a generation, and then it's time to look at the Mount Rushmore of New England sports 50 years from now? Who is that going to be? I mean, do we exclude these talented athletes that are currently playing or going to play in the future? And we're stuck with just the I don't mean stuck, but it's stuck in a sense that 2-3 generations later, kids might be asking, who is Ted Williams?
I think that the conversation, I think they're going to have to be pretty special to knock some of these guys off.
Right.
Which is a great thing. I mean, what's it going to take to knock Brady off of that? Another New England football player to win at least 6 titles and lead a team.
Probably not going to happen.
Probably not going to happen. I think Brady's pretty much cemented in there.
Right.
Williams, though, there is wiggle room, because you can make the argument about winning championships. Mm-hmm. So there is some wiggle room there.
There might be some wiggle room with Bobby Orr.
But there probably won't be with Russell.
No. Yep. So Tom and Bill are probably
right.
pretty secure.
Okay.
All right. It's interesting, and this is fun. This is fun.
We'll do it again. We'll talk
Yeah.
to the kids and we'll do it again and
Yeah, see what they have
do it
to
like
say.
on a national focus or something like that.
Yeah.
Because in closing, just think how fortunate we are that if we were doing this for, let's say, Milwaukee,
Right.
or Kansas City, we're just
Kansas City, yeah, I got you.
I mean,
Yeah.
it would be a. And
But even if we did, it'd be kind of fun, maybe in the future, if we did it actually from a national perspective. If we said pick a football player, I still think it's Tom Brady.
I do too.
But and then be interesting to see like where you go from there.
Well, then I think a hockey player though would be Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Basketball.
Not LeBron James. No.
No. No. Probably Bill Russell.
It would probably still be Bill Russell. Yeah, and
Baseball.
baseball. It might still be Ted Williams, or I don't. It might be. Well, you're a David Ortiz guy. Right?
Well, I mean, I would start thinking Mickey
like
Mantle,
Lou
Babe
Gehrig,
Ruth, Lou Gehrig.
yeah, sure.
Those guys. Sandy Koufax.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another level. We are way over.
The guy
on
that
time
I love,
today.
Randy Johnson. Sorry. Yeah. All right. Okay.
All right, that's going to do it for us and Mike and the Hoss of Wolfeboro Community Television. We went a little long today, but that was fun.
Yeah.
We
Thanks
will
for watching.
Yeah, we will see you next week, and go Bruins.
Yeah. And go Knights.